According to the URA annual statistics book, the agriculture sector had a GDP share of 23.70% for financial year 2020-2021 and 24.07% for financial year 2022, which represents a considerable opportunity to increase government revenue. The Uganda Revenue Authority will now require all agriculture farms generating more than 150 million shillings per year establish a TIN, record transactions and preserve records for at least 5 years. However, some farmers perceive this as a burden because of current taxes and fees, and the registration process may be confusing and time-consuming.
But I also equally think it has not come at the right time. I think as farmers, there's still a lot that we need to be guided on. I must say that a very good percentage of Ugandan farmers are not really literate. Most of our farmers are, people who have not been to school. So when you speak about things like TIN numbers and taxing them, it is best that you probably first speak to them, do an extensive, training and information sharing on how they will also be able to benefit.
Its intent is to raise taxes. And most farmers, since they produce hand to mouth, that is under subsistence docket, there is no way farmers that are doing a lot of subsistence would embrace having TIN numbers. Because there is no rocket science about TIN numbers, its intent is for you to be able to raise a small fund, a small cost, or a small amount of money in terms of tax to the government. But now, it is a bigger negative area, it has a bigger negative impact to subsistence farmers. And on the other hand, for small docket of farmers that are doing commercial farming,
Suleiman Cheyune presents a legitimate point, namely that URA should carefully evaluate the operational costs faced by farmers prior to imposing any additional taxes on them. URA must have a comprehensive strategy that takes into account how taxes affect the entire industry. It can then make sure that its tax laws favor organic farming methods and foster economic development.
There's loads of inputs that cost money to the farmer. Seedlings, fertilizers, for some they've had to invest a lot of money in irrigation because of our uncertain weather conditions. So there's quite a lot of costs that must also be put in consideration before URA can think of taxing farmers.
Acquiring TIN numbers will enable farmers to access government services and benefits like credit facilities and subsidies, improving their operations, productivity, and profitability. Formalizing the sector will also ease doing business and attract more investment. Farmers would gain in a variety of ways, according to the tax expert Nahum Zaderick of URA, because it will be simpler for them to access government services and facilities, including loans, grants, and licenses.
The first benefit that the farmers will get is that whenever they purchase any item that they use in their businesses, in their farming business, and once these purchases are made from people with tax identification numbers, for example, you buy from fellow taxpayers, from fellow farmers that have tax identification numbers, they will be allowed deductions. The current status of the law is that where you purchase items of more than 5 million, from a person without a tax identification number, that deduction will not be allowed. But where you purchase from a person that has a tax identification number for things that are more than 5 million, the deduction will be allowed by URA.
We can enhance the sector's productivity and boost output with the correct investments and policies, which would not only help farmers and rural communities, but also raise income collection. Therefore, farmers are urged to abide by this criterion in order to avoid fines and ultimately gain access to government services. Bronia Katusiime, Smart 24 TV, Business Today.